budget hearing to order and start with the flag salute.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, quick roll call. Obviously, Commissioner Sorber, Bubel, and myself in person. I believe we have Commissioner Ward and Commissioner Kaiser online. And all right, we will take comments from the public for the budget hearing. If there are general comments about the rest of the agenda, that will be handled a little later in the normal commission meeting. So I do have a sign up sheet. Betsy and Brady, were your comments for the budget hearing or for the regular meeting?
Regular meeting, sir.
Regular meeting? Budget hearing? All right. Okay, yeah, we'll do Brady and then you can.
Mistakes are part of life. The one nice thing about getting older is I'm living long enough for other people to recognize that I was right, to admit from mistakes. I was basically the only person, I think, that came forward when you made the mistake of stopping the port tax years ago. That was a mistake then. It was Larry Erickson's fetish to do that and shouldn't have been done. And I protested it then. Now I'm here to say I fully support the fact that you're restoring it. You can correct that mistake going forward. You certainly cannot correct the lost revenue in between. You've lost millions of dollars that you could have used for lots of projects, and you may not have known at the time that you had a $50 million plus unfunded environmental cleanup. But it certainly wasn't rocket science to know that you had decades dealing with that property and that there was going to be a lot of money needed. And it was pretty far short-sighted, rather, to stop that tax when you could have been saving for the day that you would need it, and now you need it. So I'm glad that you did it. However, the other mistake that you've made is you've allowed Next Energy, who right now owes you millions of dollars, and who you continue to allow to not pay their full lease payment. That adds up to more than double what your tax that you're going to collect is every year. That mistake can also be corrected. And you can do that today as well. All it takes is one of you to be brave enough to make a motion and three of you to support that change. And you can vote that Next Energy will in fact start paying their full lease payment, or they don't have a lease. It's that simple.
Brady? Mike?
You all. I'm Michael John. You're a really distant citizen out there in the event. But I did want to come and echo my really stop shooting tax. I think that the work of the board is some of the most critical work that this county faces. I mean, trying to replace jobs is critical. And if you look just what's happening or what's happened with the loss of Cascades, both Scappoose and St. Helens, the effect on the county and the city budgets. I mean, they're talking about furloughs and they're really in a tough situation. And really, the only way for us as communities to address that is really going to be through the leadership of the board and trying to create new jobs in the industry. And so I know you have a tight budget, but I think it's not a lot of money. It's not a big tax. It's been built for years, but it gives you the seed money to pursue grants, build spec buildings, to do things that could help change that equation as far as employment in this county. And really, we really need more jobs ready to go over that. That's why you're on the board. And even though this would cost me a fair amount of money personally, if you don't invest, you're still not going to be any return. So I would hope that would reestablish it, use it wisely for for the benefit of. For. So, thank you.
Do we have any other public comment on the budget in the room? Any comments from the Zoom? If none, I think we can go ahead and close the budget hearing and call the regular meeting to order. Which we will start with the consent, any additions to the agenda, actually. All right, if none, consent agenda. Entertain approval of items A through C.
I'll move to approve items A, B, and C.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda items A, B, and C. Any further discussion? Nancy, Robert? If none, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None? I think motion carries. Okay, comments from the public. Betsy, did you want to speak on a particular agenda?
Serve the opportunity to speak at the end of the meeting.
Yep, absolutely. And we have a laundry list of resolutions, and we'll start with the fun ones here. So resolution 2025-15, reinstating the port tax. Do you have any sort of presentation, or is that just a discussion among the commission?
Discussion. Yeah. Want to hear from Guy.
He's on.
Good morning,
I
Commissioners.
imagine there's probably some comments about the port tax, so defer to y'all to start that discussion.
Would you like me to make a comment before we get started?
Absolutely.
Okay, good morning, Commissioners. We've progressed through the fiscal year 2026 budget process. This process started late last year with internal staff meetings as we identified priority projects and projected our upcoming revenue and expenses. Several of our commission meetings earlier this year focused on fiscal year 2026 priorities as we strategically chart our course into the future. In April, the Budget Committee met, discussed, and approved the proposed budget we presented. The two resolutions before you today to reinstate the port tax and adopt the fiscal year 2025-26 budget represent the budget approved by the Budget Committee on April 29th. We are required to provide these adopted resolutions to Columbia County before the end of the month. As such, I recommend adoptions of resolutions 2025-15 and 2025-16. Thank you for your engagement and commitment as we have worked through this budgeting process over the last 8 months.
Well, nobody else has any comments. I have a few. This has been probably one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make as a port commissioner. Looks like Robert just texted me and he has a question. Robert, did you want to unmute and ask your question?
Sure, I hope you can hear me clearly. Good morning, Commissioners. Yeah. My question to Guy is, there's been a lot of discussion about the intended use of the levy. Is it possible that we isolate those funds and they take commission approval to use so that we know where that money went, and at the end of the year we can say what we did with that levy money?
Yes, Commissioner Kaiser, we can definitely do that, and would look forward to working with you to figure out the best way you'd like that to be tracked and presented on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'll finish my piece. And anyways, one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make, I've gone back and forth on it. I've heard a lot of feedback from the community. And on one hand, it's obvious the financial implications of the tax and where we're at with some of the obligations around Talbot, and even the DEQ pretty much telling us they're going to take into account the tax revenue in our ability to pay analysis, the seismic upgrades out of Port Westward, issues at Scampers Bay Marina. And then on the other hand, I personally feel we started an outreach campaign and that has gone well, but I don't feel like we've really reached the public, and when we're affecting their pocketbooks, it's pretty tough to not feel like we have educated the public about what we're doing with the money we're going to be taking from them. And, you know, I've read some comments online. There's definitely folks that don't understand what we're doing out here, what we might be doing with that money. So it's makes it a little difficult to just impose or reinstate a tax on them. But personally, you know, financially, I don't think we can really afford to delay this any longer. So while I'm a little disappointed that we haven't done as good a job as I'd like to hope, I do think it is our fiduciary responsibility to bring the tax back. And ultimately, we need that tax base to deliver on our mission. I think I kind of heard what Robert was saying around tracking what we do with that money. I think it needs to be carefully stewarded and, you know, used for grant matches and other things that have a really, really positive impact on our community. So this is kind of where I'm at, a little disappointed, but I feel like we need to move forward with it.
I would second a lot of what you said. Not overly thrilled about moving forward with it, but I just don't see a lot of other options here with the upgrades the port needs. And some of the things we've been looking at, we've had a lot of studies done, looking at improvements to Scappoose Bay, Railroad Avenue. I mean, we'd go on and on and on. I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. I'm not excited about it. I wasn't there when it was around or when it was removed. So I don't have a ton of the history on it. I have some, but given information given, I think it's the correct move.
Nancy, Robert, any comments? Thoughts?
Well, I think I have made my position pretty clear. I certainly agree that in a position to need this money. I think we could have made a more thoughtful decision when we removed the tax. But yeah, I think we all know where I stand, and I continue to support keeping tax off the taxpayers' roll.
Looks like
Robert, I would support getting it off as soon as we can. So
I did not catch that. Supports getting it off as soon as we can. Oh, if we voted in getting it back off. Okay. We're having a little bit of difficulty hearing you, Robert, but I think we got the message there.
all right, thank you.
I guess my comments, I've been in favor of putting the tax back on. I think we made a big mistake the way we handled the next financial issues. And I don't think we can go back at this point on that, but I think we made a big mistake on that one without getting it bonded or something like that. So we would know the money was ultimately going to come in. It should have been there. So, but with that, I would move to vote on resolution 2025-15 and 2025-16, adopting both the port tax and the budget.
All right, we have a motion to approve resolution 2025-15 and 2025-16. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Sorber, moved by Commissioner Bugle. If there's no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion carries 4-1. Motions carry, both resolutions 4-1. All right, moving on to old business. I think we're going to swap the order here. We'll handle the Lignetics neighbors update first, and then the Marina update in association with all the resolutions.
Excellent. I've invited Mr. Nelson, plant manager over here at Lignetics, to provide us the update. I'm sure he's got the latest and greatest. So
Thank you, Steve, for coming.
Good invitation. As you know, we installed the new sprinkler in February and March of this year. Actually had some startup issues with it, with some meters being calibrated incorrectly. Supplier that's remedied that.
The system seems to be operating as expected. But to this point, we are doing some more control upgrades to allow us more. Either programming parts, so we might have people to make adjustments to the system. So we have some more equipment coming in later this summer, and we are including our source test later this summer.
Oh, having a hard time hearing you back there.
I don't think he has a, does he have?
There's one down here,
Yeah.
but that's just for online.
Oh,
Okay, I'll start over. So the salt scrubber, we had some startup issues, we plugged it up a few times, the system was calibrated incorrectly. We have 2 flow meters, they weren't talking to each other. Some issues with startup of that, that we've upgraded the software, everything's calibrated correctly, the system is operating. Then parameters as far as we developed this one, seems to be working fairly well. Making more control changes to allow our computer system to manage the rubber, the ILS. Allow a few more pieces of equipment to get some minor pieces, it's not impacting anything right now, but it'll make it easier for our operation. So I should. Questions, comments, concerns? I mean, it seems to be working pretty well. We're happy with it so far. Other than just the startup issues with actually share for the supplier. System functions, so.
that's great news.
Yeah, Jan, do you have any thoughts? Would you like to come up and? So maybe both of them. You mind coming up to the?
I can't, city administrator with Columbia City. For the source testing, is that for DEQ? Has the permit been filed out for that?
Permit has not been finalized out through that. That's for our knowledge to make sure we follow the supplier example that we
Okay. And you do still have 2 outstanding permits with the city?
Okay.
That haven't been signed.
Okay. I'll be done with that.
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. So,
yeah, they just need to be signed.
okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I don't think so. Thank you for the update.
Yeah, so.
I do have a question because Steve and I talking, and I'm just gonna say right off the top, Steve has been really good to communicate and let us know what's going on and absolutely appreciate it. But one thing we've not talked about, so given the way things are going right now, the bag house, what's our update in terms of
Back
that?
house, and in our fiscal year 26 budget, which starts in July 1.
So it is in the budget.
It's in the budget, budgets are not approved yet.
Oh, okay.
They'll be approved by the board. Oh, sometime in July or August. Last year, the longer year before it was not. It is in the budget for next year.
Okay, so when it's in the budget for next year, any guess as to when it might be done?
Somewhere fall and spring, like this.
Okay. I asked that,
And we have most of the components in the Lignetics network. Whatever you cover, but think of that.
right, and if I recall correctly, I missed you guys, I missed it. I certainly wanted to see how things would play out as we went to the warm dry, which actually started in May this year. And so we're okay with all the equipment, the transformer, you've got the hammer mill, it's just the bag house that's the holdup.
So, and the other part of the bag house, the big beauty. Consider that until.
Okay, and with regard to DEQ, is approval for that on their plate yet, or?
No. Or different things from our consultants, that it's a simple change should be approved within a couple weeks.
We have a new person though, right?
Yes, we do have it first, and then we have it in person. Hopeful. operating once we
Yes, we do.
the transformer, we have to do support on our side. That's also in the budget, we're gonna get another piece here, support increased load, so. That's also planned, so.
Okay.
The hammer knows on site.
So, in terms of what the neighborhood is experiencing, I did want to give you an update on that. Obviously, the thing with the calibration, had an effect on, you know, our start of the warm season, so to speak. But that seems to be under control. I have gotten several complaints, over the last month about why isn't it any better and what's going on? I will say personally that I think it is marginally better. I feel that, we have made some progress, but we've got more progress to make. And I know Mike Sale is no longer with the company, in that, I guess, does he have a replacement yet?
Not until after our bill,
Okay, okay.
that's all I know, I don't know who.
Well, I'm going to reflect on something that he had said previously, which was he felt like the bag house and that operation would definitely have an effect in terms of improvement of the dust situation. So that's the reason I'm pushing and asking about the bag house being done. And it sounds like it's not going to be this summer. Right.
But I agree with that, the back on shit out of it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to add, I forgot to mention that with all the new ductwork we put in, it eliminated a lot of old wore out. So the area behind the plant is much cleaner. Never had before, so.
Okay, and I know we have a temporary issue with a lot of stuff that came in and was actually stored outside.
Yeah.
Because I think that also is an important part of this whole thing when we get windy from the north and it's dry, that tends to exacerbate our problem. So for me, it was, you know, mainly to get an update about all these things and where we are, because we're not there yet.
We have started watering the roads and we see a lot of debris blowing off the roads. We have to do our observations for you. And there is a lot more debris blowing off the grounds. And the backside of the building is cleaner, so I think it's mostly road debris. Also some stuff north of us, so. But there's gravel stuff.
So I'm wondering at this point, because we kind of ceased trying to have any community meetings or anything like that, to see how this would play out with the scrubber and the
Probably
sidewalk.
do for a community.
And that would be, I guess, the next thing I would propose, and Sean, you've been good enough to attend those also, is that perhaps we need to have one so that the neighborhood, you know, I can communicate only so much, but because I think we kind of maybe overpromised what we would expect at this point coming into June or what we hoped for. So I think it might be important to do a community update.
I love that. We did have one of our.
Is that something that we organize or don't just attend, they organize?
Yeah, they had, yeah.
Okay.
So they did fix that Monday.
Okay, good. Yeah, because the neighbors let me know loud and clear that they were experiencing.
That was a new one.
Okay,
That was after your email.
okay, all right. You know what? I've used my printer ink to do this, so I'm just gonna show it. I sent Steve this picture. So this is my bird bath, and the birds won't use it like this. Just so you know, I take the bowl off, turn it upside down for the entire fall, winter. And I put it back up in the 1st of May. And unfortunately, this is what happens, and this is the reason people complain.
Do you mind passing that around? All right.
Sure. Because when any of the residue, the dust is allowed to sit and then it gets wet, that's what happens. And you can scrub it as much as you'd like to scrub it. And by the way, that bird bath is just on its 2nd summer. I already replaced.
The black is the dust, that's not.
Rescue when it settles and it's wet, it's wet, it's damp, it turns into something that you really almost can't get rid of. I mean, you can scrub
Yeah,
and do it, but it doesn't rinse off.
so still seeing a significant amount of dust.
Well, I think that this probably captured, I'm not sure about the timing. It may have captured the oops with the calibration. You know, I got back from the trip and noticed that the roof had turned brown since I left. And I was like, wow, Steve, what happened? So I'm sure that is.
We noticed there was some stuff we had, was covered with white covers in the back, hey, we're getting this dust. And that has not increased since we've done the calibration.
So thank you for your time.
Yeah, my questions. Thank you.
And maybe we can get together and decide when to set up a meeting.
Right, look like we have a Marina update and that will probably feed into a handful of resolutions as well.
Good morning, commissioners. For our short Marina update, I'd like to give you an idea of what's been happening down there recently. As a major destination recreation, it's imperative that we protect the marina infrastructure from deterioration. In part, the port has been doing that by performing pavement maintenance on a regular 3-year cycle. And that time has come again where we need to perform crack seal coat and striping on the asphalt areas. The Port applied and did receive a small grant from the Oregon State Marine Board that will cover the majority of the pavement maintenance. It'll also include costs for painting and doing some maintenance to the heavily used public restrooms. The grant award is for $45,597 with a port match of $15,199. The total project cost is $60,796. Details on this grant will be coming up in resolution 2025-12 here shortly. So Crystal's putting up here some images that you can see what we're doing at the RV park, boat ramp, and parking areas. The pavement maintenance project is currently underway right now, taking advantage of the surprisingly warm weather we're having for June. So that's good that we haven't come into any rain. We expect to complete the pavement portion by June 17th, and then finish the restrooms the following week.
It looks like it shows Monday, Tuesdays for least amount of traffic. Am I?
Yeah.
All right, I just want to point that out because that's really thoughtful. Like a lot of people fishing right now and I'm sure they appreciate that. And with the warm weather, other recreational boaters, so.
They also gave out free fishing, which was announced by ODFW very short notice for Saturday and Sunday, and we started that on Monday. So we just
Skated in.
Yeah, we just skated in. While we do the public restrooms, maintenance to that will provide alternative facilities. Let's see, on the screen here, you can see a phased plan. You'll see a second image coming up. The first image is this yellow area, it's phase 1. We'll be doing all of the car parking and the first couple rows of the boat trailer parking. This will be for Crackfield, and those dates have been adjusted a little bit. Right now, we're still wrapping up Crackfield. And then in order to keep the boat ramp open, we're doing traffic changes. So we're doing half of the boat ramp loop, and then we'll open up the other half of the boat ramp loop. So boat ramp will be able to stay open during Crackfield. And then on the next image is our phase 2. And this phase, the red area, will include the remaining boat trailers, parking, and the RV park. And also includes parking in front of the gazebo and public restrooms. In this phase, we'll open up the yellow area and still allow the boat trailers to use the boat ramp to launch, so that will still remain open for Crackfield and Seal Coat. Then on June 16th, we have given plenty of notice, advertisements, socialized on media everywhere, signage, etc., that we will be doing closure of the boat ramp for 1 day while we apply seal coat back in the yellow area. Now we're hoping only one day, but as you know, best laid plans can be delayed, so if, at worst case scenario, it'd be 2 days, but that seal coat needs to dry for 24 hours. Do you have any questions about the project?
Oh, looks great.
Yeah, and well thought out too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We got a great staff and with the contractor was local businesses. And our maintenance team, we've been out there barricading, talking to customers and just being very available. We've also provided overflow parking at the Moose Lodge, but to date, it hasn't been needed. So that was arranged.
Assume we have some signs out there informing folks that this is coming up and.
Everywhere, yeah, weeks in advance, website, Facebook, printed signs, called all of our business tenants and sent letters to our Marina tenants, so it's well documented.
Excellent.
Okay, that's it for the update. Now, shall we do one resolution at a time?
We can either handle them as one package. Yeah.
That's mine.
ABC.
A, B, C, D, right? Is that correct? That'd be,
Yeah, we could do 4 at once.
I'd like,
If there's any questions, Miriam's here, or if you feel pretty comfortable about
I
it.
do, yeah.
We're raising some rates, but I think we all know our struggles out at Scappoose Bay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution or A, B, C, and D, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Sorber, seconded by Commissioner Buble. Any further discussion, Nancy or Robert?
No, I'm good.
Right. With that, all those in favor? Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank
Or
you.
motion, yeah, so those 4 resolutions are approved. That's dramatically knocked down the list. Let's see,
Airport.
resolution 2025-13 airport runway rehab construction contract. Lacey.
Online. For your consideration regarding the final phase of the runway rehabilitation project, phase 3 construction, resolution 25-13. Following the public bidding process, Support and Century West have selected Western United Group Civil Service LLC from Nicole, Washington as the lowest and most responsible bidder under the FAA established guidelines. Western United Group has worked with cities of Vancouver, Woodland, City of Kelso, and Richfield, with other clients listed as Kelso School District, ODOT, WashDOT, etc. Yesterday, Ms. Bynum and I met with Craig Strummel, the Kelso Airport Manager, and he is currently using them for a project. And has nothing but wonderful things to say about their professionalism. Their bid was $3,759,089. The FAA Airport Improvement Program grant will cover 95% at $3,571,135. ODAB will match $147,200, and the port will be responsible for $40,754. Following approval of this resolution, Mr. Clark will execute the contract for a summer 2026 project. Any questions?
That's excellent news.
Do we want to handle this as a single resolution or do both of the airport ones together?
Both of them together, that'd be fine with me unless somebody has objection.
These sites go for work.
Yep. I don't think there's any questions on that.
No, I don't. Motion to approve resolution 2025-13, 2025-14.
Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Sorber, a second by Commissioner Buble to approve resolutions 2025-13 and 2025-14. Any further discussion, comments? Nancy, Robert?
Nope.
Nope, I'm good.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Chair, a brief comment.
Yeah.
You heard the conversation about the marina and the efforts to keep the boat ramp open. I still think that it remains an unresolved question about how to keep the airport open for the 2 months the consultants are prognosticating that they want to shut down the businesses there. And I would hope that the commission would continue to request of staff some innovative thinking on what we're gonna do to avoid closing those businesses down for 2 months.
Absolutely, yeah. I assume staff is on board with that.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
All right, resolution 2025-19, intergovernmental agreement with Clatskanie Fire District.
And our guy for this, Robert.
Morning, Commissioners. This is an intergovernmental agreement with the Clatskanie Fire District. By signing this, we'll allow Clatskanie Fire to better serve the citizens of Clatskanie and also the 135 square miles of surrounding area that the fire district serves. They provide fire, rescue, and emergency medical services to those areas. What will happen here is that they'll take over ownership and maintenance of the Clatskanie Business Center, which is a 41,000 square foot building and a 1.54 acre property. They're taking it over in as is condition. And if the property is sold within 5 years by Clatskanie Fire, then the port and Clatskanie Fire will split the proceeds, which we've talked about, excluding up to $200,000 in any capital improvements that they do to the property. So this has already been signed by the Clatskanie Fire District. Now it is here to you, Commission, to authorize the executive director to sign it.
I know Robert has been heavily involved in this. Robert, do you have any comment?
Well, this came out of a discussion with Sean and staff about how to do maintenance on that building, and it's in dire need of some, although it's a very sound building. So fire district is happy to make an investment and keep the port in there. We've talked with Elliot, we've got water's rights for life. We plan to do the repairs this summer and turn that into a training center for our use. We've already been approached by the sheriff's office and some outside fire departments that would like to train there. So I think it's gonna work out very well for the port and the fire district.
Any other questions?
No. Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-19.
All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Sorber and seconded by Commissioner Buble to approve resolution 2025-19. Didn't sound like there was any further comment. So all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, should we move forward with the executive director's report and commissioner reports, or do we want to go into executive session to?
Maybe we, like you suggested, we break the exec session into two pieces. That's what your desire is, and we'll talk about the real property.
Yeah, we have two executive session topics. One's on real property. The other one is Sean's review. And I believe we have maybe some folks in the room who would like to be present for the resolution 2025-17 and 18. So maybe if we go through the real property transaction executive session and then come back and
Then come back out.
resolutions and then finish up with Sean's review.
Okay. All right, would you like me to read the script?
Yes, please read.
Port of Columbia County will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192660 subsection 2E to deliberate with persons designated to negotiate real property transactions. Representatives of the news media and dedicated staff are allowed to attend. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any of the discussion or deliberations in this or any executive sessions here at the port. Port Commission will return to open session as you've already heard, and any persons excluded from executive session are welcome to return to open session when it is resumed. Thank you.
Well done. 5-17 and probably 18 contemplated at the same time.
Great. Well, good morning, commissioners. So just for a little history to start, the port completed a 31,500 square foot hangar building construction. It was a build to suit back in 2021. That was for a tenant that unfortunately went out of business during COVID. After being unable to find a tenant for the building for 2+ years, I swallowed my pride and suggested that we retain a aviation real estate expert. I selected Brendan Clark, who I've been working with for the last several months, to market the building for sale and for lease. Brendan in April introduced American Jet Center to the Scappoose Airport. Lacey, our airport manager, facilitated the first showing of the building, and American Jet Center emailed a letter of interest to purchase the building later that same week. Their offer was competitive at $3.76 million compared to the other lease and purchase offers that we previously received. In addition, the hangar was purpose-built for what they intended to use it for, which is health transportation primarily. American Jet Center appreciated and prioritizes locating themselves at secondary and tertiary airports. They explained to me that it really eases their operations with those types of airports because the lower traffic means that it's quicker for takeoffs and landings. American Jet Center has 7 locations across the U.S. with business lines that maintain fleets of jets. They do upgrades to clients' jets, fueling, health transportation, drones, and they have a fire safety division as well. American Jet Center plans to use the building and the adjacent premises to operate a commercial business that maintains and stores jets. They'll have the administrative and office space use as well. And then they'll also have the ability to fuel their own fleet and sell Jet A fuel from a fuel truck. This mobile service is not something that's currently offered at the airport. We negotiated fuel flowage fees of 6 cents for every gallon of Jet A fuel that's delivered to the premises. And all of that's outlined in the lease that was included in your packet and then also summarized in the staff report that I provided. American Jet Center intends to make the Scappoose Airport facility their West Coast hub for their health transportation division, eventually housing surgical staff and performing on-site medical procedures as necessary. They plan to initially employ 20+ people and operate 24/7. Lacey's working with them and several other workforce community partners to hold a job fair to aid in the recruitment of those positions. I coordinated with Business Oregon to confirm that the mechanics of the purchase and sale agreement, the promissory note, and the ground lease all align with our building loan on the property. The loan is scheduled to be paid off prior to the title transfer, so all of that timing-wise will work out. John, Bob, Lacey, and I had the opportunity to meet with the principal and his entire family when they flew out to do the due diligence on the building and sign the purchase and sale agreement and the promissory note. He's on the call today, and I wanted to give him an opportunity to introduce himself. Our real estate agent, Brendan, is also on the call. So I'd like him to have an opportunity to introduce himself as well. The resolutions that are up for your consideration today approve the executed purchase and sale agreement and authorize Sean Clark, the executive director, to execute all other closing documents related to the sale. That's resolution 2025-17. And then in tandem, we have resolution 2025-18, which authorizes the executive director to execute an associated ground lease for the property that the hangar sits on, the adjacent parking lot, and then the apron right in front. The ground lease mechanics are, it's a 30-year term with 2 10-year extensions, which matches our other ground leases out at the Scappoose Airport that we have. At the terminus of the ground lease, the ownership of the building will revert back to the port so that we're in line with our grant assurances with the FAA. I've mentioned this all to you before, but in staff negotiations, the conversations and the meetings that I've had with American Jet Center, they've been extremely professional. And while there was obviously back and forth negotiation on several things, it was always done in a timely manner and very respectfully. So I appreciated working with them. I'm really hopeful that Scappoose Airport and American Jet Center will have a long and fruitful relationship and that we can grow together. I think that this is a great opportunity for us. With that, I'd love to invite Dennis to introduce himself.
Can I ask one clarifying question?
Absolutely.
Maybe just make a comment. If there is any sort of issue or default the building comes back to us in that instance and we keep all the money.
Correct,
Right.
yes. So
Okay,
it's
that's-
structured in terms of non-refundable payments. So as they move through their payment schedule, if there's a default in the process, then payments are kept by the city.
We are very protected in this scenario.
I feel very comfortable with how Bob's structured, and Bob and I work together pretty closely on
Yes.
how to structure it. Hi, Dennis.
Hi, good morning. Thank you everyone for your time. I'm Dennis Amutel. I'm the CEO of American Jet Center. We kind of fell in love with Scapos the first time we landed there. The building is absolutely perfect for what we need. Whoever handled the construction did a great job. It was beautiful. We loved the people we interacted with. We absolutely loved the way the county handled things. Experience with dealing with a lot of counties around the country. Port of Columbia has been one of the smartest and most pragmatic in the way of handling transactions and negotiation. So we are very excited. We are very happy to be able to be part of the community. This facility is going to be our West Coast main hub where we are expecting to do a lot of flying, helping a lot of families. Just so you guys know, about 23,000 human organs go to the trash every year because of lack of transportations. And when I've heard that and I've met the people who were trying to solve the problem, this is where my life goal came. And I've decided to focus all of our resources and our lives to that. So we are a family business. All of our wife and kids and uncle and everyone works with us. We are all dedicated to the same mission. This is about saving those lives, saving those organs. And we are very excited to have the support of the city of Scapos and the county of Port of Columbia to do so.
Do you all have any questions for Dennis? We can switch and meet Brendan, but.
Any questions? I don't know if we covered it. Do we have a rough estimate on employees that are going to be?
Yeah, so they're working, so Dennis is working with Lacey to set up a career fair on the 20 jobs that they're trying to fill initially.
Great.
There's a breakdown that I rattle off the top of my head, but
Fueling, maintenance, front office staff,
instruction.
to start with, and then it will develop as.
Great. And this is a new market for them, so there's probably a few regulatory things they're gonna
Figure out in terms of transporting.
Yep.
We sorry to interrupt. We've been involved in this for about 3 years. We have all the certifications that are needed from Medicare, from the recovery agencies, from the FAA, so we've been involved into that, and we've done a lot of things to be able to be in the position where we are today and solve this problem. In terms of jobs, it's gonna be a ramp up. That's gonna happen over the next 2 to 3 years. So we are trying to organize an hiring fair right now to start doing the transformations that we need and be ready for our contract that takes about 3 months to implement once we get the key of the building. And then we are expecting about 25 people this year, and over the next 3 years, about 150 people working from this facility. Not at the same time, obviously, but because we are 24/7 operations, there will always be someone on site and a pretty good team on site at all time.
Great. I believe if there's no other questions from the commissioners, we also, we have one other person to meet. Is that, and then we have Betsy had signed up for a public comment, I believe, for this agenda item. So let's meet Brendan and then get Betsy's public comment for that.
Absolutely. Dennis, one thing I did want to mention also is that the commission might be interested in coming to visit the facility and just meeting your team. So if we could coordinate something like that with you, we would appreciate it.
We'd love that. I was planning on being there on Friday if you guys want to meet, or we can meet any other time. We'll always be happy to meet the people we work with.
Thanks, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you.
Is Brendan?
Yeah, I'm here. For some reason, I'm seeing my video, but it's not showing up. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
And see you.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Amy, thanks for the introduction. Dennis, thanks for being part of trying to buy Scapos. As Amy mentioned, we've had it for sale for some time. We've had, on again, off again interest from various folks, both in the Oregon region and also, close to Portland. Ideally, as a package, I know you guys would probably love to sell it outright for the number that Dennis is going to finally arrive at. But what I think is you've got a good deal in terms of a big ramp up with the promissory note from Dennis and his company. You've got a solid ground lease. Dennis has taken down some more land to the south of the building and increasing the ramp space. And also you're going to offer something which Scappoose hasn't had, which is Jet A fuel sales and the ability to have other jets coming in and out of there. So whilst it serves as a reliever for Portland, I believe that with Dennis's jets that are there and the jet fuel, you're probably going to get some more traffic, and it should be a real boon for business in the Scappoose area. Also, the way Dennis is ramping up across the country, this is going to be a hub for the northwest. Again, the Oregon thing, if you do look at it, 23,000 go to the trash every year or more. It could be a real win for the Scappoose and Oregon area. So do you guys have any questions for me?
I do just want to clarify one thing. Thank you, Brendan. There is Jet A fuel sold on the airport from our FBO Transwestern currently.
For clarifying, yeah.
Global trucks, yeah.
The only problem I see with that, and sorry, I got that wrong. I thought they didn't. They've got a little bit of a keyhole to get in there. So if you take a larger jet in there, I'm pretty sure Dennis couldn't get the 601 in there. And I'm not sure they're able to turn it around and taxi it away. So a lot of things with jets is, the turning circle is not that of a little Cessna 172. You've got wingspan, you've got swept wings. The guy in the cockpit, pilot, can't always see the wings. So when you turn, you want to make sure you're not going to collect something as you turn around.
If I may step in, what the Jet A, the airport has is for like small turboprops, which requires above the wing refueling. For the bigger jets, we have single point refuelings because we pump much more fuel, and because it is like a fixed step, we need trucks to turn around. Because if I go and I come in what we have today, even on one of our smaller jets that we have that will take above the fuel refueling, I won't have enough guys to push the plane back once fully loaded to take off. So this is, when we came, we had to go to Hillsborough to refuel before heading back to California because it was not appropriate for the jet. It's really appropriate for small turboprops like a Malibu or something like that. That is much easier to handle.
Any further questions for Brendan or Dennis? I think this is probably a good opportunity for Betsy to weigh in with her public comment, and if any clarifications on the fueling abilities of Transwestern, that would be helpful to know as well.
Thank you. For the record, my name is Betsy Johnson. I live in Scappoose. We have been fueling jets very successfully for a long time at Scappoose, and I just want to be clear about that. I don't know whether or not, is Oliver the last name? I don't know what name to use because
Is his first name?
Yeah, I know Dennis is his first name, but
So it's Dennis Oliver Mouter. I have two names. So it's Dennis Oliver Mouter.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was properly respectful of your name.
Thank you.
The largest question that I have, because I hadn't heard this entire presentation, is the notion that you're going to be flying a lot of organs and doing medical procedures at the hangar.
So we work for a medical company. The medical company is our client and is licensed by Medicare, and we will have temporary medical infrastructure that will be placed into the building, and that medical client will use that for some of their procedures that they need to happen. Okay, this is not us as American Jet Center. We handle the plane and the logistic and the flying of the organs. We do not handle the medical side of things.
Commissioners, I would just respectfully ask that there be something in the record prior to you approving this lease that speaks to that organ transplant. I dare say I'm the only one in this room that's actually flown a heart. And I know that there are very strict procedures. I've just come from helping to select the new president of the Oregon Health and Sciences University. And I think that the port, at a minimum, if medical procedures are going on in that building, ought to know what's expected. Where's the copies of the certification? Are you part of the organ transplant network that exists that rations organs? Basically, I hate to say it that way, but they ration organs. And I was really quite surprised to hear that there are going to be medical procedures. So that was my largest question. I guess the other question I have, just in general, is a list of aircraft. Has that list of owned aircraft been provided so that we know exactly what kind of equipment will be on the field? We've been partially responsible for helping to do noise mitigation and noise management problems between the city and the airport for a long, long time. And I'm just curious what the nature of the operations are and what the aircraft are.
So it's all jets. It goes from a light jet like Phenom 100 to bigger jets like Falcon 900 and Challenger 600. So it is a quite wide range of jets. To give you the list, the truth of the matter is between different locations, the jets will rotate. So we can give you a few, but we can give you some type that are definitely going to fly. But the tail number and things like that, I mean, it's not, we don't know exactly which one will be allocated there yet. To answer to your other questions regarding the licensing for the medical procedure, as American Jet Center, let's be clear, we do not do any of that. Okay, the company that is doing, it's not a company, it's a non-profit that do those procedures, will do so once fully approved and licensed into the states. Okay, and will do paid by Medicare, and it is a completely clean way of doing things and legal way of doing things. We do not, American Jet Center, do those. We provide a space for hospitals and surgeons to do a part of their work, okay? But we do not intervene into that. We do the flying and we provide the infrastructure.
Are you at liberty to say who your medical partner is?
Yes, us, transplant and cancer.
Pardon me, I couldn't understand. Would you mind repeating it? I didn't hear you.
I think he's frozen.
I think maybe
It was up there. I believe he said us transplant something, but I could have heard that incorrectly.
while we're waiting for him to come back, we do have some language in the lease around following all government regulation.
That's the law.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that extends to anybody that they allow into the building section.
Dennis, can you let us know again the third party you're working with? That you froze up there a little bit.
Yes, so the name is House Transplant and Cancer, okay? And yeah, we've been working with them for the last 3 years, and they've been building transplant programs all over the country and all over the world, actually, for a very, 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 very long time. And
I'm just having a very hard time.
Oops, I think
yeah.
You cut out during the middle of it. Yeah. I think you froze again.
House, like a home, house. Transplant.
Can you text
Sure we
Amy?
House.
House?
Yes. Yes, so transplant and cancer.
Okay, so H, just like house, normal spelling.
Yes, house, transplant, and
I can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's freezing up a bit.
Yeah, that's okay. That's all
you
right.
can text it to me.
Perfect. Thank you. That part came through.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Betsy.
Thank you, Beth.
Okay, any discussion or comments on the purchase sale agreement and or the ground lease?
Well, I would just like to say, Dennis, thank you so much for choosing Scappoose and Columbia County. You bring a really valuable service. I actually have a family member who needed a transplant, and you don't know how important this is until you're involved. So thank you so much for what you're doing, and thank you for doing it in Scappoose.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Means a lot. Thank you.
follow up on the public comment. Obviously, contractually, we're gonna be following state and federal laws, you know, out at the airport, clearly, right?
It's in the first section.
Robert, any comment?
No, I like the presentation. I'm sitting next to a young man who transplanted to save his life last year. So more power to you.
Right. Well, if there's no further comment, I would entertain a motion.
May I ask a question? Not possible.
Yeah,
Add it to public comment.
yeah, as
Go
another
ahead.
comment.
Hold on. I'm curious, my name is Mark Smith with Pacific Aircraft Services. Has NB, how many organs has your company actually delivered since they've been in business? And is there proof of that? Have you provided the port with any proof?
We can, however, we are under HIPAA regulations. Okay, so it's not like we can disclose everything we do publicly with destinations and name and patients. What I can invite you to do, I will be with the head of the nonprofit that is doing the recovery side in Scappoose the 17th of June. I will be here or exploring the facility with him. So if you guys, we can solve a few questions with him at that time. But I'm not gonna provide information that I should not provide. We've been running those operations with them. I don't know the exact number. We've done the first trial runs about 3 years ago. And we have been contracted by HCA, that you probably know. It is the largest hospital group in the country. It's about $60 billion. So we are contracted with them. We are contracted by Antelope Valley. We've been contracted by Riverside Community Hospital. So we have contracts in place with a major hospital group around the country, and we can actually prove those, obviously.
Thank you, Dennis.
And are you planning on having people living at the facility?
This is more of a public comment, not a question and answer session. Thank you. Right, any other questions or comments from the commission? Okay.
Nancy doesn't have anything, or?
No, I'm good.
Thanks. Okay.
Resolution 2025-17 and 2025-18.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Buble and a second from Commissioner Sorber for resolutions 2025-17 and 2025-18. Any further comments or discussion from the commission? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
You keep up no money. How are they gonna pay for it?
All right, we will move on to executive director's report.
Morning, commissioners. It's here and abroad. Saw a nice picture of Robert's fish they caught out there, so that was good. Thanks for sharing that, Robert. We met early in the month, the staff did, talking about just an internal Marina discussion on strategic planning. We'll be coming to you folks to find out the next steps in that and kicking off the strategic planning session with stakeholders that we've identified. Had a meeting last week on site at Next with one of their investors, and also had toured them around the site, and they met with some other folks in town, had an event on Wednesday night at Colvin's, which went really well. At this Thursday's Colpack NOEA board meeting, followed by the Northwest PAC meeting. And Friday, Business Oregon has asked a couple of us ports to come down and present at the Infrastructure Finance Authority board meeting in Albany. So I'll be heading down there with a couple other my port compadres and talking with them about the importance of ports and funding ports. And we have a special CET board meeting next week as well. And then Colpack is hosting a mass timber webinar, which I'm really curious about, see how we can hopefully get in on some of that in our port district here. We are closed on Juneteenth, next Thursday. Back in the office on Friday. I'll be attending a Marine Highway 84 workshop over at the Port of Kalama, which hopefully we'll talk about some funding for ports through Maritime Administration. And then on 7/1, we have the Scappoose Bay Marina Advisory Committee meeting. Any questions?
Questions? Thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to commissioner reports. We'll start with Robert. Maybe you can give us a fishing report first.
It's a beautiful day in southeast Alaska, but I want to thank you all for working together on the middle school project. I think that building is really do some things for the community, and work with our district worked well to make that happen. So I appreciate all your support on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Nancy?
And Robert, I'd like to thank you so much for making that happen. This is really important for us as a port, and I think it's important for the community. And I'm anxious to see what's going to come of the building once it's put to good use. So good on you. I'm here in Bellingham along with Guy and attending a PNWA, Pacific Northwest Waterways Association conference, which are always just some of the best information I've ever received anywhere, and it's all in one place, and they come to us, and it's just kind of, I highly encourage everyone to attend when they can, because these are fabulous meetings. One of the things that came out of it is the Port of Vancouver was talking about how they do informational meetings within the community, and I'm pretty excited to come back and share that with all of the staff and the commissioners. I think we've got some good opportunity to bring community awareness in a way that people will want to be there, want to hear what we're saying. And I think it's worth a try. And I'm hoping that we can create a venue in which the community does want to come and participate. So right now, I'm really stoked about that. And other than that, I'm also looking forward to coming home. Thanks.
Thank you, Nancy. What's your people?
Sure. I had a great meeting with Sean and Miriam at the Scappoose Bay Marina, and I learned a lot about the challenges that are still facing us there, more than I'd gotten just in listening here before. It was very vivid and very challenging, but it's a good place, and we need to figure out how to make it work. So that's great.
Thank you.
And I do want to say something about Robert and the building in Classic and that was a great success. Thank you. Hope it works well for everybody.
Great.
Yeah, I'd echo a lot of what Chip said there, Nancy, with the building with Robert and all the hard work and everybody's involved with that. It's gonna be a great thing for the community. Tough meeting, a lot of tough decisions here. Hope we made the right ones. Appreciate everybody's help on the marina projects and the airport. And I know that's a lot of hard work goes into those things, and yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I would very much echo that. Tough meetings, tough decisions. Very much appreciate all the work from staff on the tax stuff. That was, it's a really difficult decision. And hopefully we can make good use of that money and maybe learn a little bit moving forward in terms of public outreach. But I do think it sets us up well for the future, and it's going to be impactful for the port. On a more exciting note, well, actually, thank you to Robert as well for helping out with that building in Klatskanai. That is, I think, going to be a really good partnership, and I look forward to seeing how that goes. But on a more positive note, the outreach events that the port is participating in this summer, I just wanted to mention those and encourage commissioners that can attend to attend when possible. So we will be at the Klatskanai Heritage Days car show on the 28th. I'm not going to go through all the details on timing and whatnot. The Rainier Days in the Park on Friday, July 11th. The Columbia County Fair and Rodeo on Thursday, July 17th, 13 Nights on the River, Thursday, July 31st. And the Columbia City Celebration on Saturday, August 9th. So hopefully some of y'all can attend. I know I'm going to try to. I know I will be there for several of the events regardless, so. I'm glad to see that we're getting out at those events across the county too. I think it's really good to make sure that we go touch all of them. So. With that, I believe we have another executive session. So if you would like to read the script for that and.
Board of Columbia County will now meet in executive session again pursuant to ORS 192660, section 2I, to review and evaluate the employment-related performance of our executive director. Representatives of the news media and designated staff are allowed to attend. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on any discussions or deliberations that occur during this or any executive session. The Port Commission will return to open session after the executive session and will announce any decisions that are the result of the executive session. Any persons excluded from executive session are welcome to return to open session when it is resumed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.